All right, y'all, welcome back to another War Rapport Wednesday. The Super Bowl was crazy. Congratulations to those Philadelphia Eagles. But we got basketball to talk about. And for the college basketball, we got to talk to our guy, Mike Gittens. Thank you so much for stopping by, my friend. Another War Rapport Wednesday, and all good things have to come to an end, right, Mike? Unfortunately, Auburn drops their first game in conference. Florida shot the lights out at Neville Arena. What was your biggest takeaway from that game? Because, again, Florida was just on fire from the floor.
It's that the SEC is as deep as it's ever been, as any conference I think has ever been in college basketball history. So you had number 6 Florida come into your home. Todd Golden said after the game, he said, we played about as well as we could have played to win in this environment. So he understood going into Neville and getting a win was a tall task, and they pulled it off. Denver Jones didn't play well, 0 for 4 after coming off a game where he was 4 for 4, right? Didn't miss a shot, didn't make a shot the game after. But ultimately, if you're Auburn, you still scored 81 points in that game. And so on most nights, that would be good enough to win, even with your guards not playing great. Chad Baker-Mazar didn't have a great game. Broome is a walking double-double, so he did what he does. Ultimately, if you're Auburn, though, I think the stat that stood out to me was 14 of 23 from the free throw line. Oof. You missed 9 free throws in a game that you lost by 9 points. And if you hit even half of those, maybe the balance of the game changes a little bit down the stretch. But ultimately, this is still the number 1 team in the country. I've said it for weeks. I think they deserve to be able to falter and hold on to that number 1 ranking, given where we're at in the season. So, with only 2 losses, and those 2 losses being to 2 teams now ranked still in the top 5, give me a break, man. It's still the best team in the country.
And we're actually transitioning perfectly to that. A lot of chaos happened over the weekend. Duke going to unranked Clemson. Again, Clemson not like the bottom of the barrel by any means, but unranked Clemson takes down Duke. Cooper Flagg had an uncharacteristic travel at the end of that game. It was very strange out there in South Carolina, but it happened. And now it does. And as you mentioned, Auburn's schedule, there's more quad 1 wins on the table still. They lose to a top 10 team. Look, you're right that they had that grace, but now is that grace gone after this week?
Yeah, I think that you're starting to get into that territory where if you lose again, now you're no longer sitting in the driver's seat for that number 1 overall seed, and you're bringing Florida into the conversation in terms of that regular season SEC championship. Now, Bruce Pearl said it after the game. He said, I don't know I did a good job making our team understand how much this game meant to Florida. Because if they lose that game at Neville, they're 4 games behind Auburn in the league. Now they're only 2. So if you lose another one and Florida continues to win, it's going to get tight down the stretch. Think about these games that they have coming versus Alabama in Tuscaloosa on Saturday at Neville for the last game of the season. They're going to become super important, Rex. Yep. So, look, I mean, if you're Auburn, you're still in the driver's seat. And I think that's the important thing right now this week. You are in the driver's seat. You are in control of your own destiny. You went out. You're the number 1 overall seed. I don't think it's a question in my mind because nobody else's resume stacks up. Already 12 quad 1 wins, and then your 2 losses are quad 1 losses.
So overall, at least the resume has that. Now, as you mentioned, Auburn is in the driver's seat. Well, that road does include a team that you mentioned. They have to go to Tuscaloosa because now we have a number 1 versus number 2 matchup in college basketball because, of course, you needed more pressure for the Iron Bowl on the basketball court. A lot of angles to go here, but we'll start off just big picture-wise. What can we expect out of this Auburn team when they go to, let's just say, somewhat hostile environment in Tuscaloosa?
I think you can expect them to want revenge. And look, they're going to play well. They're going to play well in Tuscaloosa. I'm predicting it already. Aiden Holloway is going to be amped up for that one. Auburn knows him well.
Yes, they do.
I think they're going to be on a mission to not let him score a point if they can in that game. Tahad Pettiford, I expect to shine in this one. Ultimately, this is your chance to prove that when the lights are the brightest that you show up. Now, if you're Auburn, you've already proven you can do it in your non-conference schedule. You've won, as a visitor on the floor, you've won at neutral sites against top 15 teams, top 5 teams, and now you just got to go and continue to do it because in the SEC, everybody has the same opportunities that you have because of the strength of the conference this year, Rex. So, look, I think it's going to be a game for the ages. I tweeted out last week, Auburn versus Alabama is going to break viewing records.
I will, yeah, absolutely.
What a great thing for the state of Alabama to have these 2 teams sitting at the absolute peak of college basketball at this point in the season.
Look, you guys know where I'll be. I'll be definitely helping break that viewership record because Auburn at Alabama at this point, number one at number two is going to be absolutely insane. We'll dig a little bit here into the numbers here. Scoring-wise, Johni Broome could be National Player of the Year. Look, it's pretty much, in our opinion, his to lose. But Mark Sears is also lighting it up there in the SEC. Some of the top scorers there. How can Auburn control or at least minimize the damage that Sears can do?
Well, look, I mean, you've got to force them to continue to take tough shots from the outside. That's it. Make it as difficult as possible. Johni Broome affects everything around the rim. Right. In that Tennessee game they won, you could see that because he wasn't 100% on that ankle, he wasn't able to affect the rim the way that he normally does. So Tennessee got some points that they wouldn't normally get. As far as I know, Johni Broome is 100% healthy. He's going to be amped up for this one. He's not going to want to give up anything around the rim. And same with Dylan Cardwell. Auburn actually leads the country in blocks per game.
Wow.
That's 6.8. Yeah. So they faltered a little bit in that category against Florida, but they're still number one team in the country in that category. So you got to continue to do that. Look, Alabama's a jump shooting team,
right.
And jump shooting teams can go extremely cold. Auburn is really good in defensive efficiency, so it'll be interesting to see what gives first. Is it going to be the Alabama offense or the Auburn defense? I think that's the matchup that you have to watch.
100% going to be really exciting. And look, I know that Johni and Dylan are guys who are obviously like, okay, those are shot blockers, but you got guys like Denver Jones, Chad Baker-Mazara, all these guys who can play incredible defense. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Let's switch gears, though, because it's always appropriate to talk football in the South. Massive win for the Auburn coaching staff because DJ Durkin, who engineered such an incredible defense, which, to be fair, is the silver lining of whatever that was that Auburn football season. How massive is that Hugh Freeze kept him on?
It was the one person you have to keep on staff for the next couple of years if you're Hugh Freeze. Look, DJ Durkin's defense was amazing. They kept him in games last year. They're the only reason, quite frankly, that Auburn didn't finish with 2 or 3 wins last season. I mean, they played well. He fielded a top 25 defense. They're recruiting at a high level. There's plenty of talent coming up behind the seniors that are leaving. And all reports are that he's organized, he motivates them well, he's a great coach. And when you hear about how defensive practices are run at Auburn, they praise DJ Durkin's ingenuity, they praise his organization, they praise his coaching skills. And so I think this makes a lot of sense. This contract makes him the second highest paid assistant in the country.
Wow.
I think it was well earned last year, and hopefully they continue to build on that. But keeping continuity in your coaching staff is so important when you're trying to build a program because coaching turnover makes recruiting maybe a little bit harder.
Sure does.
But as far as implementing a system and growing a system, keeping that going is so important for Auburn.
You mentioned that it was a top 25 defense for Auburn, and one thing there was they were so young. So now, maybe we can't get into specifics with like scheme and players, but are you expecting another massive jump for this team? Because a lot of those guys are coming back.
Yeah, I think they're going to be good. I think they're going to be really good, and it's going to be a high point again for Auburn football in 2025. The question will always be time of possession.
Right.
Can they hold on to the ball long enough to not hang this defense out to dry in games? And if they can move the ball and these guys don't have to hold, for over 35 minutes a game, then I think Auburn has a real chance to do well on defense and continue to build and climb those rankings. This should be a top 10 defense this year.
Gotcha. A top 10 defense because, again, top 25 last year, a lot of youth on there, but DJ Durkin was the one thing that we could not critique. We could not praise him enough last season because what an incredible job and a great win for Hugh Freeze. Going to switch it up just a little bit here because Auburn softball has a really interesting story. They won their first 5 games, and the head coach, when you talk about who is the head coach for that program leading the charge, it's a married couple. It's a co-head coaches, Chris and Kate Malvo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Definitely going to get to know your names for sure. But I've never seen a situation like this, and with softball, I've never seen it like a married couple, co-head coaches, making it all work.
Yeah, what a great story for Auburn softball. Now, that's been a program that's been maligned as of late, with the former coach leaving amidst some controversy with players and things that were going on in that program. There were complaints from players about wearing Under Armour shoes, and there are all these things. Obviously, Auburn is making the switch to Nike here in July. But that's been a program that's always had a ton of promise, and I'll be interested to see how their story develops. I don't know if I could work with my my wife every day. I go work with my girlfriend every day. But hey, they're making it work, and I guess that puts a new meaning to Auburn family.
I know, right? Look at there. And I think no matter what, the husband could probably make some right calls here and there, but, she's always right on the diamond and at home. But, hey, congratulations to Auburn softball. Genuinely, all jokes aside, really exciting to see a team and a program. When you have troubles and you finally get things right, you get things going, always really exciting to see. So again, get your popcorn ready for this weekend, y'all, because Auburn, Alabama, #1 at #2. It's going to be absolutely crazy to see what will happen in Tuscaloosa. Before we go though, Mike, where can people find you on social media? Because again, the War Report, pretty much everyone has great content to see.
Check us out on YouTube at the War Rapport. Our guy Ike Jones will be on site at Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa covering that one for us. So lots of great coverage coming for Auburn fans. Also check us out on social media at the War Report on every social media platform. TW Report on TikTok. Also go check me out at Locked On UCF.
Y'all need to check this out for sure.
My guy Josh Pate
Look at that!
from the Josh Pate College Football Show joined me to talk Scott Frost and UCF. So we're growing that community over there. I appreciate every subscription. We're on the race for 1,000 subscribers. We're at like 762. So help us get to 1,000 subscribers before the spring.
And y'all, look, it's free. You don't have to worry about that $9.99 subscription for Hulu and Netflix and all that stuff. Don't worry about that. Mike, doing great work out there. Shout out to Josh Pate as well from Harris County. Way to help out the local guy here as well. Well, guys, that'll do for another War Report Wednesday. We'll see what happens this weekend. You guys know we'll be watching that game for sure. Going to be absolutely crazy. Mike, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. That'll do for another War Report Wednesday, y'all. We'll see you next week.